volume of a sphere, actually we're going to do two today. So volume of a sphere and volume of a hemisphere, which is just half a sphere, so that's not a big deal. Spheres, as you know, are balls. You know, anything that has this type of shape, we would describe as a sphere. A sphere itself, the definition of a sphere is, let me look, hold on. It is a set of points, S, that are the same distance to a center. Now the key here is that distance that we're talking about we describe as a radius. Right, so we have a center in this, and the center in this is the same distance to all of these points that make up the exterior of a sphere. The formula for the volume of a sphere, so we're talking about what is on the inside of that sphere, is very simple. The volume of a sphere is 4/3 pi r cubed. Now, when I say cubed on the radius there, this is a common spot where kids struggle to remember. It is radius to the third, and we don't deal with any sort of height. So to give you an example, let's put one on to your notes here. We're going to draw a sphere. We're going to just draw a circle. And then to make it three-dimensional, we're going to add like kind of a belt to it. So the front of that belt is going to look like a smile. And then the back of that belt is going to look a little bit like a frown, but we'll use a dotted line because we can't actually see it. Then what we'll add to that is a center point. There we go. And a line to the outside. Then I'm going to write 8 millimeters here. That's our radius. So once I get that on there, where's my cap? There's my cap. Once I get that on there, then I can find the volume of that sphere. And to find that volume, I'm going to use my formula. So volume of a sphere is equal to 4/3 times pi times 8 to the third. Now I'm going to get my calculator. And then 4/3 times pi, the pi button, times 8√3. Now, I don't have a x to the third button on my calculator, so when I have to do this, what I'm going to do is going to type in 8, and then I'm going to hit this button. Looks kind of like a mountaintop, but we don't call it that. We call it a caret or a hat. And then I'm going to hit my 3. Now what that means is, sort of like in English here, what we're telling the computer is, the calculator is that this is our base. I need a base of 8, calculator, and then I need an exponent, so that's saying I want to raise it up, okay? Then that exponent is here. Exponent. And once we have that, then we've told the calculator exactly what we want. This will work on your keyboard too, in your computer as well. So let me hit enter here, and now we have a volume of this sphere right here of 2144.66. I include the hundredths place here so we can check to see if it is something we'll round up in the tenths. It is 5 or greater, it is, so I'm going to take that off and I'm going to move this to then 7, a rounded number, and then add my units, millimeters cubed. And that is the volume of that shape. Not too tough. When we look at then a hemisphere, what we're talking about is half of this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to erase this. Then, watch this, I'm going to erase just the bottom part here of this. There we go. And there's our hemisphere. Now the hemisphere is the same formula of a sphere, but we're going to also multiply it by a half. Some people tell you just divide by 2. I'm going to tell you to multiply by a half, just because I want to be consistent in my message. So this is going to be 1/2 of the formula for a sphere. Now, every time I do this, I'm going to write the formula, and then right below it, I'm going to write the numbers into it so that I get used to that formula. I remember that formula, 1/2 times 4/3 times pi times 8 to the 3rd. Once I have that, I put that into my calculator. 1/2 times 4/3 times pi times 8 hat 3 equals. And then I get a volume that is 1072.33. Rounding to the tenths place, I check the hundredths. Hundredths is less than 5. So we're going to keep this as a 3. Add my units, millimeters cubed. There we go. Short, sweet, simple. Okay. If you have questions, of course you can ask me. Good luck.